Babers, welcome in to the live stream post-game brought to you by Yuengling's Flight, the fresh, refreshing beer from Next Generation Beer from Yuengling and Flight. Hey, Rod Babers, I said your name off the bat because here's the deal, Rod. I picked 56-0, and it ends up being 55-0. Not bad. But here's the bottom line and what I want to get to you right away with. Texas treated the sacrificial lamb that came calling to Austin the way sacrificial lambs are supposed to be treated. Arch Manning was on target all night long. He started what looked maybe a little jitters at first, had an underthrown ball, had a ball batted down, but some guys stepped up and made plays for him. DeAndre Moore went to the ground to get a ball early, and then it was all she wrote. Arch Manning looked like the prospect that we think he is, and a lot of people considered him to be all season long or all off season long. But look, 55-0. What are your thoughts here, Rod?
I think you hit the nail on the head, right? It was all about, let's not bury the lead. It was all about Arch. There are other elements into this game and other headlines that we'll talk to, but it was all about, could they get Arch, get the best version of him versus Sam Houston State? Sam Houston State has had their struggles. 133rd pass defense, as we've talked about all week long. It was it probably is on the record statistically going to be the worst pass defense that Arch would face all season. And if Arch couldn't find a way to kind of exercise those demons and execute at a high level and be the best version of himself versus Sam Houston State, then maybe the panic button is justified that some Longhorns have started already pressing. But I don't think it is. And because I think, once again, we saw it, right? You saw those throws. And I understand we consider the caliber of opponents. There's no doubt about that. There were still some throws that he made. And there were still some moments in this game that I think for him would transcend the opponent. And we saw him find joy in the game again. We saw him confident. We saw him celebrating. We saw passion. In terms of going off on the other player after he scored the touchdown. I know that it's probably ill-advised, but I don't think any Longhorn fan minded because they saw the passion in Arch Manning again, and they saw a little swagger in Arch Manning again. That's what this game was about. That he left with some swagger, and I think he did. So that's what made me feel good as a Longhorn fan. Now, all the other stuff we'll get to, but Arch Manning, best version of himself, and I think he's got swagger, and that will grow over the 2 weeks, the bye week, and by the time you get a chance to go to Florida, hopefully that just translates to him once again, getting better week to week and no regression, and that's what we want. That's the mission. I'm not. Now, obviously, I don't know if he's going to throw for 300 yards every week. But I'm just considering the opponent, we want him to keep getting better, not making the same mistakes as a quarterback. You get that, and you will get an Arch Manning that can win in the SEC at the highest levels, if that is indeed the case.
I look at this as we look at our stats here. Matt, our producer, will put those up for us. 600 yards of total offense for your Texas Longhorns tonight. 607 in all. Terrific on every down. 7-11 on third downs, Rod. That was a big one for you that you wanted to see. Everything. I mean, they scored on 9 straight possessions. Arch Manning finishes 18 of 21 for 309, 3 touchdowns. Also had 2 rushing. I thought the running game got going early. Not just with Jarrett Gibson, but also with Christian Clark, James Simon, even throw in a long run by Ryan Wingo in there. Matthew Caldwell had the long run too. It was a out-and-out dominant performance on both sides of the ball, because we've just been talking about the offense. And what about Arch Manning? How about that shutout, Rod B? What'd you think of the defense tonight? 5 straight 3-and-outs to start the game.
Yeah, actually, I thought we were actually talking about this on Friday, predicting how many 3-and-outs they have, because the Sam Houston State offense had been struggling, averaging about 6 3-and-outs a game going into this contest. So I'm glad Texas obviously kept them to their average but I thought they'd end up having 7 or 8 3-and-outs. But that's okay because they ended up having a couple of turnovers and takeaways in this game too. You predicted a shutout, Bob, and you were as close as anybody in score prediction. I think I was at 42-0 or something like that. But I just thought Texas defense, if they should challenge themselves. When you're a really good defense and you're going to have a game like this, it's about you. You got to challenge yourself. Like, hey, what's this? What's our standard? Is our standard we're going to have 6? What's our goal? 6, 7 3-and-outs? Is our goal 3-and-out on every damn drive? Is our goal just a straight up shutout? Even if the second and third string guys are in there, that we make sure that we are motivating them and we are talking to them and that we are making sure that we share what we've learned on the field with them so that they can make sure they continue to shut out. Like I remember that motivation as a player, like, no, it's a shutout. Even though I'm out in the third quarter, hey, young bucks, y'all got to keep the standard up because we want the shutout. That's a win for everybody. And I think this defense is starting to challenge themselves. And that, to me, means that means they're the identity. They know they're the identity. They're the leader of the team. Like they're going to have to lead the way. The offense is on a different journey, and I think the offense is going to be okay. All right. They got to find out their identity, and hopefully that is centered on Arch Manning. But we know the defense is good. We know they're good, and they know they're good too. They got to lead the way and set the tone for this team. And I think they did that. I think they did that in this matchup, no doubt.
A couple other notes there. Sam Houston State only gets 113 total yards on a game. In a game. That is unbelievable. Yes, by the way, they did look dysfunctional. To your point, Rod, Texas should dominate them, but they absolutely went out and did it, which is a different story. Another thing I would say is that a lot of people got in on the action tonight from freshman after freshman. We saw our first action for Nick Brooks and Jonah Williams. Jamie French got his first catch. Literally, we had dozens of new players get their first snaps. KJ Lacey came in, was a third quarterback off the bench in the final play as well. So Myron Charles got action. Lance Jackson got his first career sack. Smith Orogbo got a forced fumble as well. So not only did we have, this out-and-out romp here at DKR, but we also got to see a lot of new players. And we'll talk about some of that and more here in a moment. I want to say first, thank you to Flight. It's the next generation of light beer with only 95 calories. It's an easy drinking upscale light beer designed to elevate your taste buds with just 2.6 carbs per serving. Flight is an easy to drink beer with a clean, crisp taste. Try Flight from Yuengling. Thanks to the fine folks at Flight and our friends over at Faust Distributing. They also helped us out with some tailgate stuff today. Flight did, so we appreciate them very, very much. Rod, as we look at as subtext, obviously Arch Manning is the lead of this game. At one point during the game, he completed 13 straight passes, including in a couple of those passes, the over route to DeAndre Moore, the bomb to Ryan Wingo, and then I think the RPO to Ryan Wingo for a touchdown as well. Along with an out to Parker Living. I mean, he had when you said that earlier, that some of what he did tonight translates. Those are some of the throws you're talking about, right? Yeah. It's not. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. Those things work time and time again.
Yeah, and some of it I think is reaffirms what we already know, right? His deep ball is a weapon, has always been a weapon. But you saw a little bit of the, Arch being able to move around, reset as a player. Saw him throw in rhythm, right? On time, on schedule. We hadn't had a lot of that. He's great doing that, even in straight drop back situations. They brought out the old wide delay, which is good for Arch because they can roll him comfortably one way, and then you have the tight end coming back, and even then he was under pressure but still made a good throw. So it was just, I think, it reassuring for Longhorn fans that, okay, they weren't bamboozled or hoodwinked or led astray, that he can make those throws. Now you got to see him be able to do it consistently and be able to do it against higher caliber opponents. I mean, let's not forget against Ohio State in the fourth quarter, he made some of them throws.
Yes, he did.
You know what I mean? That's as high caliber as he gets. So it's in there. I mean, it's just got to be more consistent, and he's got to do it with confidence. So that it was just fun to watch him. It was fun to watch him have swagger, get his swagger back, and hopefully now you get healthier as a group. And now he gets a, having DeAndre Moore back, it helped.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
I think getting a Weisner back, getting Baxter back, that'll all help him, I think, improve and develop a little bit more too. It helps to have, just a more, let's be honest about it, man. It just helps to have more talented supporting cast. And I think when he gets that, now these younger guys aren't going to get there, but they're not where Weisner, Baxter, and DeAndre Moore. I mean, those guys are leaders of your position groups. All right. So I think that was a big part of it too.
I look at it. We're going to go down some of the things that we take away. One of the things I wanted to bring up with you, and I mentioned it briefly in the overall numbers, but Texas 7 of 11 on third downs tonight. Also 7 of 7 in the red zone. Now, shouldn't be surprised that they had so much success given the final score of the game and the outcome. But they've clearly gone to running the quarterback in the red zone. And it was part of the reason why Texas scored touchdowns instead of field goals, because even early on, Jarrett Gibson got stuffed a couple times, but 7 of 7 in red zone. You look at the TD pass ratio, field goals made, etc. Pretty good on money downs for Texas tonight.
Yeah, the critical areas, right? Third down, Texas is one of the worst. I think they were like 126th in the country coming into this game. And this is the perfect slump buster because Sam Houston State, I believe they were 123rd in red zone. In third down defense. They were 102nd, something like that, also in red zone defense. I mean, this is a team that has struggled in those defending those critical areas, and Texas has struggled executing there. But I'm with you. There's no doubt. I know Sark doesn't major in quarterback run game, but he's got a minor in it now because even Matthew Caldwell with that 50-yard run or whatever he had. I mean, I think he had a 14-yard run versus UTEP. I think Sark is starting to recognize, all right, part of what juice is adding juice to the offense and juices it up a little bit is the quarterback run game. And he ran Arch early in this game. I forget. I think it was early in the first quarter that Arch had his first designed run. So I think you're going to get more of that. That helps you in the red zone too. So I'm not sure if Texas has fixed their issues in those critical areas because it's the opponent. Nice to see them against that caliber opponent be able to execute in those areas. And I'm with you. I think quarterback run game is here to stay. They need it at this point for the offense.
They do. It helps them make them go. I think it gets Arch. I will say this. When Arch kind of turned it around, like you could tell he had. I wouldn't say he had the yips, but the low ball to DeAndre Moore. I think one of his balls was a little late. When he turned it around was when he got popped in the face after he threw the ball over the middle of the window. The rusher came free and he got it out quick.
Yeah.
And he got drilled and drove to the ground. After that, he played lights out. I mean, he really is. It's almost like, okay, I took that hit and I delivered that pass. Let's go play.
Yeah.
It's almost like that kind of. So when we talk about him running the ball, it's also that, I mean, when he gets hit like that and still completes the pass.
Jitters are gone. The jitters are gone. I'm done with the jitters.
I ain't got a room for that anymore.
Yeah.
The mind doesn't have any room for it because I just got, if I keep being jittery, I'm going to end up with my head on a plate somewhere.
No, I agree. I like that. I got to go back and watch that. That's good. Oh, and also something else we talked about, and we were like, Sark still trying to get him in a rhythm and get him, early on, try to get him confidence, some easy completions, and he didn't. He took the shot. He took the shot early. Well, he tried to. But they ended up checking down. But he tried to take a shot early on in the game because Sark is Sark. In the end, Sark is Sark, baby.
There were numerous things to like about Arch's performance tonight. Another one was his movement in the pocket. He still has a good feel for the pocket. That the movement that he made to come back to Jordan Washington
On the
and elude that backside rusher.
Yeah.
That'll play.
Yeah.
That's a translatable skill as well, in my opinion, for Arch Manning. All right, we'll have CJ Vogel come by and join us here in a little bit as well. We'll also have some news and notes from from Steve Sarkeesian's post-game presser. Rod, as we look at this game and think about it, is there anything that worried you out of the gate? I think the one thing that I would circle and at least think that we need to talk about at some level are the amount of penalties. Texas still had 9 penalties on the night, still not playing clean football on all 3 sides of the ball, whether it's offense, defense, special teams. I think every single part of the every part of the offense and defense and special teams all had a penalty tonight. Is that an issue, or is that something that you felt wasn't that big a deal overall, or isn't that big a deal overall?
You didn't. I don't know if you actually have to deal with the consequences of it, because Sam Houston State they weren't able to maximize on opportunities like that. But I think you 128th in the country in penalty yards per game, and I think you were averaging 8 penalties per game coming into this matchup. You said they had 9?
Yep, 9.
So this is the 4th game of the season now. At this point, we gotta. You're past the sloppy play. I mean, you've had 4 games under your belt, practices. So, this is kind of getting close to who you are as a team. You're undisciplined at key moments in the game, and that's something that can come back and bite you in SEC play. Let's just be honest about it. That's going to come back and bite you at one point if you don't change that habit. And 9 penalties in a game, and you're averaging 8 per game. Yeah, I mean that's right on average.
Yeah, you're a third of the way through. By the way, we're a third of the way through the regular season.
Yeah, this is
and so it's no longer just small sample size type stuff. We're starting to get into a third of the season. I would add this. I mean, let's talk a little bit about this. Connor Robertson had 2 of those penalties on the very first drive. Texas overcame a false start, I believe, and a hold by Connor Robertson. So I thought that was good to see actually the offense overcome some issues like that, because that had been hurting the Longhorns. Any kind of penalty would derail the offensive system, and they couldn't make it back up through throws or what have you, or big runs. But also, I think that we need to talk about Cole Hudson being out, the center, everyday center for Texas. Also missing were Trey Wisner and C.J. Baxter. Xavier Filsaime did not dress again. Warren Roberson did not dress, and Kobe Black did not dress. That's 3 guys in the secondary alone that did not dress, Rod. Alex January also did not play tonight. So a couple guys missing, or several guys missing, yet you couldn't tell it by the final score. Texas winning 55-0 against Sam Houston State. Rod, as we talk about it tonight, anything else you want to talk about here a little bit as we go forward?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just give props to the defense. I mean, I think there was a time there I thought, man, they might relax a little bit in the second half. They did not. I mean, they kept the pressure on even when some of the backups came in. So I'll give props to the defense once again. I know the offense showed up, and we'll talk about Arch all week long and how great he looked. But I think the defense is going to end up being what leads the way for you. Having a team, would you say 100? How many total yards do they have?
113. 113.
Look, I mean, I'm sure Texas defense has dominated to that extent before, but I don't know. It feels like it's been a while since you held a team to 113 total.
That's a lot now.
Like that's crazy, guys. That's a wild number. I mean, and I don't care who you playing. Like that's a pretty stout defense to be able to hold them to that number. So it was as dominant as it looked. It felt dominant at the time watching it, and the rewatch, I bet it'll feel just as dominant. Man, that was a truly, for the Texas, very impressive performance from the Texas defense.
You look at it, Anthony Smith led the team in tackles. We had sacks from Trey Moore, had one. That was a big one. Brad Spence had one to close the game. Lance Jackson, like I said, had his first. Colin Simmons got his first of the year. And then Smith Orogbo also had one. So 5 total sacks, 10 tackles for loss on the whole for the Longhorns. A lot of new faces got in on the action. 13 different receivers, by the way, Rod, caught passes tonight. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. The rushing stats, let's look at those real quick, Matt, if you don't mind. Scroll down on that page. Christian Clark went 13 for 62. Jarrett Gibson, 11 for 53. Matthew Caldwell, 1 for 50. There you go. James Simon, 9 for 50. Hey. Ryan Wingo, 1 for 32. Arch Manning, 5 for 11. Ryan Niblett, 1 for 6. They used Niblett a little bit out of the backfield. That was nice to see him also get involved in the little pitch and catch wide receiver screen that they ran. It was a one-person inside screen. Did you notice that, by the way? I had
to go back and watch it.
Yeah, it was a one-person inside. I don't recall many people running an inside screen that's a one-person inside screen. Anyways, all right. We'll get to y'all's questions. We'll also have news and notes from Sark as well. Let's go ahead and start with some questions. Let's start with Quecco. Bobby, can you do better with your score predictions, please? I will try. I will try. It is rare. That you may have got my only time this year where I'm close. Daniel Earp, this team has not had fun playing ball. The energy tonight was everything. What did you think about that, Rod? Is that really, is it as simple as that? They've been playing too tight, maybe because the first game out of the gate was against a really good Ohio State team?
Offensively, that's definitely the case. I'll say defensively, I've seen that energy consistently all season long, but they haven't played with, they haven't played with much joy. I mean, they didn't look like they were having fun. And it makes sense when you're not making plays and you're not executing at a high level and you're getting penalties and drives are stalling and you can't convert third downs. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to have fun. And so it goes hand in hand. You got to execute at a high level. Everybody's got to do their job, and then you'll get the joy out of the game by being able to celebrate with your teammates, everybody all on the same page. And you saw that in this game, right? Everybody was all, even when they encountered adversity, like you said, on those drives with the penalties early on, they overcame them, found a way to overcome those bouts with adversity. And as a team, you'll get better. And you'll grow stronger as a group. So you saw that today. I mean, they just played with joy. It was a good energy all around. Defense, offense, and special teams. Consider the opponent. I get that. But they got to learn to keep their swagger as a team. I think, not that they lost it or anything, but offensively, it was clear that offense they weren't playing with confidence. Even Coach Sark said as much. They weren't playing with much joy and weren't having fun.
Yep, absolutely. Bean said our O-line has no discipline at all. 600 yards of total offense. Now we got to give them some of the some benefit of the doubt. They were opening holes left and right. I think another 200-yard rushing performance from the Longhorn running backs and also wide receivers with Ryan Wingo and
50-yarder by Caldwell.
50-yard by Caldwell, etc. A lot of people had something. What do you think about this though from Brandon Huey? I think he shook the jitters. Do you think he really shook the jitters? Do you think that was enough? 13 straight completions to do that? 300 plus yard, 18 of 21.
I gotta see it at Florida. I'm not gonna lie to you. For me to say, oh, he has shook the jitters once and for all, I got to see it at Florida. I will say that was as close as he looked to last season in those 2 starts where we all became infatuated with the upside of Arch. But like I said, I got to see it at a high-level opponent, and Sam Houston State ain't it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I agree. I think every Texas fan agrees with you. The difference, though, Rod, now is that they're encouraged by what they saw.
I am too.
Discouraged.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's the difference tonight as we talk about it this evening. All right, let's go to Daniel Honorado. He did it again, guys. Bobby, could you please tell me how much you love Nick Townsend? Because I do too. I don't know if you saw the kick out block he got on a third down. Holy cow, Rob. He takes people. I mean, I can't wait to see him in the Red River game. I don't know what he's I mean, he's going to be the energy against OU is going to be out of this world. And he's going to be, I mean, it's just, he did it again tonight. I mean, he just absolutely
one per game almost.
I mean, just
every game.
He's brutal. I mean, he just has no care. He can't have any care for his shoulder. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say to him as well. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this. A lot of people ask me, was Bo Barnes in? Yes, he was. Was Jonah Williams in? All those guys. They absolutely were. I mean, I could go down and count just about every single player on the Texas roster that was in the 2025 recruiting class. I'll do that right now for you because I have a list of them here in front of me. All right. Jonah Williams played. Justice Terry played. Kalik Lockett played. Cade Phillips played. Lance Jackson played. Jamie French got his first catch. Nick Townsend played. Elijah Barnes. Grayson Littleton started. Michael Terry saw some action. Myron Charles saw some action. Smith Orogbo, Dalen McCutcheon, James Simon, Josiah Sharma saw some action. KJ Lacey, Nick Brooks, Jonathan Cunningham, Jordan Coleman saw some action. I did not, and Emery Winston also saw some action. I did not see Caleb Chester, Devin Coleman, Jackson Christian, or Zealous Hicks, but one of those guys may have played on special teams, and I just didn't see it, or played late in that game, Rod. But I think that's 20 freshmen that played tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a few guys.
That's a few guys now. That's a few guys. What did you think of the defensive line group tonight, Rod? Murad Watson's a dog, according to Ezra. I wonder if that's Brandon Hughes' son. But the question I have, his name is Ezra. What do you think about Murad Watson? Cole Brevard made a play where he literally, I mean, he looked like you were running into a brick wall too. Defensive tackles play well for you?
I thought that, when you give up only 113 yards, whatever total yards, there's no doubt you were dominant. And I don't think this offense wasn't really built to try to run the football. I mean, Phil Longo pretty much runs his own variation of the air raid offense. So they want to throw the football. But I thought, the Texas defensive line played well. I continue to think that D tackle group is way deeper than I initially thought. I mean, Rod Watson's playing really well. They're better pass rushers than I thought. Hero Canoe, Murad Watson. These guys are hell. I gotta go look and see who's after this game who's leading you in sacks. But prior to this game, it was a lot of D tackles. There were your leaders in sacks. But I think in Alex January, he's been dealing with an injury. But when he comes back, he's going to add to that group. Travis Shaw's been playing at the D tackle position, so I believe you might be 5 deep at D tackle right now. Once you bring Alex January back into the fold, you might be talking about being 5, 6 deep there. That's why they really don't need these youngsters. They can let these young guys that we saw in this game, and that includes Justice Terry, kind of sit and cultivate and develop. They can put those guys into the strength and conditioning program and really develop them and try to build that depth at D tackle up once again. And right now, nobody's doing it better, right? You are trying to keep up you had 3 straight years of having 2 D tackles drafted into the NFL draft.
Unbelievable.
You try to keep that going. That's pretty unbelievable for right now for Texas.
Yep. I would say Levon Johnson is another person.
Yeah, too. I forgot
his first time. Well. Hey, speaking of some of the young guys, this one is a funny one from Brian Berg. Winston got junk in his trunk. Rod, can you add him to your big butt list? Rod always talks about certain size posteriors.
No, you're right. He described him as a big base. I think when Jerry was talking to him on the in-game live watch,
Yeah.
he does. He's wide body. He's got a wide base, man. I can't add him to the list. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't want the image in my head, but he does. He's got that wide base, man. He's built like a Kardashian. He's got
Oh, goodness. All right. This one. Cisco Diaz, is Billy Napier gone this week? Some other games that happened today. Obviously, Texas Tech had a great win at Utah, where their backup quarterback came in off the bench, and they ended up blowing out Utah late in the game. It was only a 3-point game in the fourth quarter before Tech really blew them out. OU held on to defeat Auburn and Jackson Arnold. OU had 10 sacks. 10. I think Jackson Arnold needs to learn to get rid of the ball sooner.
10.
And then tonight, Miami beat Florida 26-7. At one point in the game, it was 13-7. And then Florida did not convert on a fourth down, and Miami kind of went away and hid after that. And Florida, by the way, Rod, at one point today had just 32 yards in their entire first half. 32 yards. All right, this one from Bean. Question for Rod. Bye week coming. Back then, would y'all go ahead and start some OU prep or just try to clean up and Hill? What would you do back then? I can't foresee Texas starting OU prep having to go to the swamp before that. So I especially even though, I mean, look, Florida's going to be fit to be tied. They may or may not have their head coach. They're going to be playing for him probably to keep his job when Texas comes calling. What did you do? What did y'all do with the bye week, Rod? And what do you expect Steve Sarkeesian to do?
Yeah, it all depends on how the schedule would lay out. I mean, it depends on who you had next. I doubt, I'm with Bobby on this one. I doubt that you are taking that time to prepare for future opponents other than your next upcoming opponent. Now, what Sark and his coaches would do, because they wouldn't mention it, specifically, and they wouldn't be upfront about it, but they always kind of put Easter eggs into the practices. So they'll have the guys working on certain concepts defensively and offensively, and then you realize they don't use them for the upcoming game. And you're like, why was he working on that? That was weird. We worked on that concept and we never used it in the game. And then in 2 weeks, you realize, and they bring it back up and you realize like, oh, they were okay. So that was actually prep for a future opponent, not necessarily the upcoming opponent. So they won't mention it. Like I said, they won't be upfront about it and mention the name of it, but I can see them planting little Easter eggs into the practices to get ready for teams like a team like Oklahoma coming up or a big game like that. But for the most part, you're still practicing on week to week on your week to week opponent.
C-Skin 96 says, love seeing the Arch Wingo connection kick in. I know two people that were probably more happy than you, and that is Arch and Ryan Wingo. They probably let all the happiness on that one. The deep bomb to Wingo is almost the exact same play that Arch missed to Livingston the week before, right? Against
I didn't think about that. I got to go back and see that. You might be probably right, Bobby.
I think it was exact same. I don't know if it came out of the same formation.
Yeah,
I do think they were twins to the right. All right, but my point is here, I think, and Wingo did help Arch out a little bit too. He sat down on the middle route over the middle, and he also caught it, shielded the guy from his body off his body. So I thought that was nice to see, and he showed some real speed on that reverse. Right,
he's so good with the ball in his hands. Actually, that's why Sark loves him on those reverses. I mean, does he have a reverse every game?
Basically, it looks like.
So we get close.
Every game we get throwback screens. We had 3 throwback screens tonight, by the way. I don't know if you were counting them. 3 of them. Yeah. And then we had a reverse to Ryan Wingo.
Yeah.
It is one of those things. This one from Chris McCluskey. Anyone talking about quote unquote mechanics this week better be having problems with their vehicle. I'm glad Jaden Lott and other recruits were there to see this one. We had been hearing, and this is just something to say. I'll take a little minute here to talk about recruiting, Rod, if you don't mind. Jalen Lott, we knew was supposed to come in early in the week, but we were not able to confirm that with Jalen or his family. But we had heard about it, etc. And long story short, I still don't know if he personally came in because I wasn't following recruiting this afternoon. We'll have to wait and see what Jerry and CJ have drummed up. But I was able to, I do know for a fact that Derek Cooper, one of the nation's top running backs, James Johnson, one of the nation's top defensive linemen, were both in. There were a number of guys in as well. I think Braylon Hodge made it into the linebacker. I've got to get all the names, frankly, but I'm not for sure. Rod, anybody that you've thought of talking about mechanics this week, you agree with, was that all a bunch of hooey? Or because you saw no mechanical issues today, did you? Was that just him getting back to not seeing ghosts? I mean,
I will admit, I didn't even, when you're playing well, nobody looks at your mechanics or cares about it. Isn't that crazy? I've said, there are tons of quarterbacks around the country playing really well. And I guarantee if you look at them, not all of them are playing with perfect mechanics. Really, right? That's just that reality. They're just playing confidently and working within the system. They're throwing on rhythm, they're throwing on schedule. They got really good chemistry with their wide receivers. But in terms of them being, mechanically sound, I guarantee you all of them are not that. And I think when Arch is playing well, nobody cares. Nobody was looking at his mechanics and talking about that at all. And not that they were an issue, but nobody was talking about them last season. And I guarantee you they weren't perfect then either. But he was still able to make plays and make the necessary throws. So I think I bet if I went back and looked at it, there probably are some flawed mechanics in his game versus San Diego State, but nobody cares because he was making the throws.
Yes.
He did miss. It was just that was a bad that was an individual isolated play. That was a bad play. It wasn't necessarily something that spiraled for him. And last week it spiraled. You watch it spiral. He's able to stop the spiral. Don't let it spiral. Just let it be an isolated bad play. Don't let it become something that spirals to you a quicksand, and then you're starting to sink and deeper, and then you can't stop it. And at that point, you don't know what to do, and the coaches don't know what to do, and your teammates don't know what to do either. And that's what happened versus UTEP at one point. And that was scary.
Hey, a week ago, he had 11 straight incompletions.
Yes.
So the critique is a fair one, right? This week, he had 13 straight completions.
Exactly.
A little bit different there. So, look, we'll see where that goes. Here's a question for you. Brad Spence from Larry Bradley. Thank you, Larry. Brad Spence is what they are hiding for SEC play. His win percentage is getting out of control.
Interesting.
He got the last second sack, but he was all over the place. I mean, that he also made that fourth down stop, if you recall that, on the he jumped and got the running back 4 yards for a 4-yard loss. He's making some big plays on limited numbers of snaps, Rod. This may have been his most snaps, though, of the season, to be fair. Randy Jones, this one's for you, Rod. Offense is missing several starters. They should be healthy for the first time against Florida. That will be the test. And what I wanted to mention there for you is how much of an impact do you think a Cedric Baxter and Trey Wisner might actually have on the offense overall? Because Texas, other than Ohio State, has not had both of them together.
Yeah, it'll keep you out, hopefully keep you out of those third and longs that you were dealing with so much of prior to this game, of course. But you were dealing with a lot of third and longs because you couldn't win on first down. You weren't consistently winning on first down. When you got CJ Baxter and Trey Wisner in there, I think it'll help you win on first down more. And you could break out your pony package potentially. You could bring the pony back and have CJ Baxter and Trey Wisner as your pony package. Ooh, that's a scary proposition for a defense. But yeah, and I think it opens up your run game, right? Because Trey Wisner at this point can run anything, but he's especially compatible with the outside zone, which is part of your bread and butter run concepts. And then the first 2 games of the season, all right, you were running more gap power schemes, probably 55 to 60%. That's power run schemes, downhill run schemes, than zone. So you were like 60% gap power because Cedric Baxter was ahead of schedule. So you were catering your run game to his strength, which is he's coming downhill against you. And when he got hurt against UTEP, it was the first game where they kind of just went back to their old identity in the run game, and they ran like 60% zone. They were running more zone concepts. James Simon did a good job with that. But when you have Baxter, who especially is compatible with power concepts, and then you have Trey Wisner, you got the best of both worlds in the run game for you. They can do, now I'm not saying one can't do either. They both do really good running zone and running power schemes, but Trey Wisner last year was top 10 in the country in outside zone rushing yards. And Baxter this year, if healthy, probably would have been on track also to be one of those. He can be on track to be one of those guys in the gap power schemes. He was on a pitch count, but that's what they want ultimately. They want lightning and thunder. That's what they want, and CJ Baxter and Trey Wisner are that for.
May still get Emmett Mosley back too. So don't forget about the Stanford wide receiver, not in the backfield, obviously, but at wide receiver. Just give you guys an update here from Cujo Banjo's asking about what's the actual status of Trey Wisner. Like, is he for real injured?
Real injury.
Yeah. I will let you. He has a groin injury, or has been nursing a groin injury since the Ohio State game. How serious is it? Could Texas have played him either of the last 2 weeks? I think they could have. Texas chose not to. And they'd rather get him healthy, etc. Some other injuries. Emmett Mosley has a hamstring. Cole Hudson it's not exactly turf toe, but it's in that category, and so they were being cautious with him. He likely could have gone. He practiced this week as well. So I'm trying to think of some others. Alex January has a neck issue that should be resolved. It's not anything congenital or anything like that. That should be resolved by the time they get going and go to Florida. Other ones, somebody's asking about Xavier Filsaime. I do not know Xavier Filsaime's injury. If I forgot one in that group of all the injuries, I will try to follow those up for you guys as quickly as possible. Chummy Muffin, do y'all think the emotional arch tonight was him releasing some pent-up stress? No question in my mind. Because not only was he aggressive towards the defender in the end zone, not only was he demonstrative on the sidelines with teammates, he pushed Sark. He was like excited. I mean, he was excited when that happened.
Yeah, man.
So he was, yes, I think that is what relief is called, that release of some stress. You agree with that, Rod?
Yeah, I was happy for him. It was exercising demons out there, man. Good for him. And that's what he needed to. He needs to have that going into the bye week, and now that confidence can grow, and now he can, he can feel as a leader of the team. He can feel good about talking about accountability and trying his best to make sure that not only are you the leader in the locker room, but you play like it on the field. And that's what you need from the quarterback position. So I'm happy for him, man. He needed it. It was a big moment for him. I know across the country there may be a different narrative about it because it's Sam Houston State. I get that. We're not ignorant to the caliber of opponent they were playing, but it wasn't about them. This was about Arch. This was an Arch moment. We all knew he needed it. And like I said, I think for him, it was a real moment to exercise demons. And that's why I think that was about those passionate displays of him, not taunting, but essentially, going off on the defender and him with Sark. And he didn't care. He was caught up in the moment. He didn't care about, who was watching or what the people thought about it. He was passionate and he's finding joy in the game. So that's what it's about, man. If he can keep that, bottle it, and learn how to replicate it over and over again, man, Archie's going to be just fine.
Yep. Last couple of weeks, punt return games look better. Now, Niblett did show some intuitiveness.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Returning punts, even though he almost broke one tonight, he showed some issues there, letting a ball bounce really close to his feet one time, and then bobbling one and actually muffing one at one point. What were your thoughts, though, on Niblett in the punt return game, Rod?
And didn't they let David McCutcheon catch one late, I thought?
Yep. Late, yes. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he's starting to become he's starting to become more confident with it. I think they should stick with Niblett now. I like that, he's able to generate some explosive plays now. You can tell the coaches got a little bit more trust in him. He earned the job when, we were worried about whether Texas had a guy back there like a Xavier Worthy or a Silas Bowden who have had in recent years. So I don't know if he's on that ilk yet with that group, but I'm willing to stick with Ryan Niblett now. And I was initially unsure about him before the UTEP game, but they've had that two good, but three actually good returns from him in the last 2 games.
Yep, excellent returns overall. All right, I want to say thank you real quick, Rod, again to our sponsor. Our post-game sponsor is Flight, the next generation of light beer with only 95 calories. It's an easy drinking upscale light beer designed to elevate your taste buds with just 2.6 carbs per serving. Flight is an easy-to-drink beer with a clean, crisp taste. Try Flight from Yuengling, 4.2% alcohol beverage volume, 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. Thanks to the fine folks at Flight and our friends at Faust Distributing. I also want to say thank you to all of our sponsors for game day, whether that started this morning with Tito's, American's Handmade Vodka, or the guys over at Hargrove Roofing, Von Lane, etc. Thank you all so much for sponsoring On Texas Football this season and our game day coverage. Rod, a couple other questions that are coming in before we get to the coach. What'd you think of this one right here?
Ooh.
Jelani McDonald, future first-round pick. Did he not look – that looked like a guy going up to – when he made that interception, what were you thinking?
What's the vert? I don't know. What was the vert coming out of high school? Did y'all have that measured? What's his vertical, man? I don't know what it is. He's just got some freaky traits. First-round pick. It's tough for safeties. Caleb Downs is about to do it. It's usually tough for safeties, but the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Serena Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size, but no Emery Winston on that. But is that he's got the freaky traits that if he makes enough plays on film, which it looks like he's one of those guys, can be a ball hawk and make enough of those plays on film, and then go to the combine and have some crazy testing. And his frame is for a safety. That's why they keep targeting him too. He's actually, his frame does him, I think, it does him some favors because I think they believe they can beat him like in coverage. They think he may be a liability in coverage because of his frame. Usually guys that big can't cover really well because they just don't have the short area quickness and they don't have the hips. He actually covers pretty damn well and has got really good makeup speed for a dude that big and range at safety. That's like the second or third time maybe I've seen him get great range on some of those deep balls he got on that Hail Mary throw. So I don't know. First round pick is tough for safeties. If anybody can, I don't know, be an exception to the rule, he's got some freaky traits to do it though.
Yep, I think so too. And I would just say I got a text from Brian Irwin, Coach Irwin, during the middle of the game. Rod said he's been talking about Jelani McDonald. He said he's beautiful. That was his comment.
You got to know a coach to know what he means by it. You're like, yeah, he's beautiful.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. Got some other thoughts here before we move on. We should get Steve Sarkeesian's post-game presser, bits of it here, at least his opening statement momentarily. If you've just joined us, and there have been quite a few people join us, I want to go back over the stats, if you don't mind, real quick. Matt, our producer, please bring that in. I want to talk about Texas, 600-plus yards of total offense tonight, while keeping Sam Houston State to just 113. Texas, 343 yards through the air. Of course, Arch Manning finishing 18 of 21 after completing his last 13 passes for 309 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns rushing also for Arch. Texas also had 250-plus yards, 264 yards on the ground. Christian Clark and Jarrett Gibson also got in the end zone, the first rushing touchdowns for a Texas running back this year. DeAndre Moore led all receivers with 5 receptions. Ryan Wingo led all receivers with 93 yards. Texas was 7-11 on third downs and also 7 of 7 in the red zone. They scored on 9 straight possessions against Sam Houston State tonight. It was a domination from pretty much the outset. The only thing that kept it from being any higher, I think, was the clock on the final. I think the clock ran out because Texas could have kept running guys out there, I think. Sam Houston State was a defeated team at very early in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Very, very early. No. Any stats that you want to bring up, Rod, and discuss right now?
I think the one that to me that stands out the most is they got the 5 sacks. We talked about how Texas hadn't really generated as much pass rush as we had thought. I take that back. They hadn't gotten the splash plays off the pass rush, right? They hadn't gotten the havoc plays out of the pass rush yet. And I remember Brian Robinson saying, they come in bunches, man. Don't worry about it. They come in bunches. He told us that last year when they started a little bit slow in terms of their pass rush productivity. And hey, damn if he ain't right. Come in bunches. You get 5 of them. And last week, the issue was that UTEP got the ball out quickly. Right? They were getting the ball out, and Sark said under 2 seconds. So it's really tough for your pass rush to get home. But this time they found a way to get home. They blitzed early on in the game too. Like I was in one of the first series of the game defensively. You saw the Longhorns blitz, which they usually don't do. So it seems like I can't wait to go back and track it and go back and watch it. But I wonder if they were a little bit more aggressive in this game at times, just to try to generate that pass rush and try to get home and create some of those splash plays. So 5 sacks stands. I think they came into the game with 6 total.
Yep.
And ended up getting 5 in this game. So hopefully come in bunches, just like B. Rob said.
Let me ask you this. I'm just looking at this. I can't remember a game where Texas held somebody to under 150 yards total offense. Do you remember?
No.
So I want to talk about that. Under 150 yards, the other team never even got to the red zone. And what's more, the other team never even attempted a field goal. Like there's been plenty of shutouts where, the guy misses a field goal.
Yeah.
But I don't think did they ever get inside the Texas 35-yard line all night?
No, they came close when before the Hail Mary.
Into the half, right?
Yeah. And then here's an incompletion. The guy dropped it.
Yeah.
The Hail Mary. You're right. Like I said, 113 yards. I don't remember. I don't know if that's happened in a really long time. I'm gonna go back and maybe I'll go back after tonight and go try to track it.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. Hey, Derek, where's Derek Williams? Derek Williams played a lot tonight, actually.
Yeah, I saw Deuce out there a lot. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Josh Roberts, y'all see how fast DJ Campbell was running for a big fellow. He's got some wheels. He was down there trying to lead the run for, I think it was Ryan Niblett, wasn't it? Or James Simon? Which one was it?
I saw him down there because I saw him look back awkwardly, like, "Oh look, what am I doing here?"
Yeah,
I remember that play. But no, he's athletic, man. He didn't look out of place. He looked athletic out there. Oh man.
Here's David Keith Williams, Rod, very astute poster. It says there are numerous stats that can be viewed as exceptional for Texas in this game. However, Texas held Sam Houston to 27 rushing yards on 26 carries. The defense is the best in the nation to me. Phenomenal stat.
That is a phenomenal stat.
But I will say this. Let's wait until they get into the SEC play and see how real the defensive run game stopping is. Because you're gonna meet a whole different level of offensive linemen on a regular basis. And so even, Florida will have the second best offensive line Texas has faced compared to Ohio State, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. And they'll have maybe the best running back Texas will have faced in Jaden Ball. They'll also have a quarterback that can run, although I don't know what's going on with the Florida Gators right now. I don't know if they're going to have the same head coach in 2 weeks when Texas plays them. But I would be a little concerned, I guess, is what I'm saying here, Rod, about necessarily saying Texas as the best defense in the country. Tonight's performance, though, was phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right, we've got time now for Steve Sarkeesian's initial press conference. Matt, please take it away.
A really good night for our team overall. We got a chance to play 75 players tonight. And we just talked about team morale, and you talk about the way that our team has been practicing for the past couple of weeks. The opportunity to play a lot of these guys, that some of them are on scout team, that contribute to the success of our team. For them to get opportunities to play tonight, I thought was big. Obviously offensively, I found some rhythm. We were explosive. I think we had 20 explosive plays, and I think scored on our first 9 possessions. 7 of the 9 were touchdowns. And so, efficiency there, running it, throwing it, a variety of ways. Found the connection there with Arch and Ryan, which obviously is big for us because we know, I think the emergence and DeAndre being back was really helpful for Arch as well. Thought all 4 backs that carried the ball did nice things today, and we utilized Niblett some different ways in the backfield and in the slot. Obviously had the screen for a big play there. Defensively, just stifling defense, the ability to get off the field on 3rd down. I think it helped that we were playing really good on 1st and 2nd down, 10 TFLs and 5 sacks. And then on special teams, Ryan Niblett with another big punt return, Shipley with 2 for 2 again on field goals. I think he's 5 for 5 on the year. So kind of hitting our stride at the right time, heading into a bye. But we're really just proud of our players, that they really stayed focused on the task at hand, and they continued to work when maybe we were getting all of the results we were looking for in all 3 phases. But they just came back to work again this week, and I commended them for that.
He talked about 75 players, Rod.
That's a lot.
Have you ever played a game that hit 75 players? Right?
I doubt it.
They only got 85 on scholarship. And one of them that played, by the way, was Brady Sarkeesian. He's not on scholarship. He got a tackle for loss tonight. The head coach's son. That was one of the nicer things to end on the evening. I thought it was really good, though, to see. Really good to see. Brad Spence ended all with a sack as well. Our CJ Vogel is still waiting to talk to Arch Manning. Apparently, Arch is out there talking to the media right now. You know that's a swarm after a night like tonight. So we'll be waiting on that for a little bit here and see if we can get him. What did you think of, while I got you here, some people are asking what you thought of the backup quarterback, Rod, Matthew Caldwell.
I like Matthew Caldwell. He's way more athletic than I thought. I didn't think he'd pull away from some guys, defenders on a 50-something yard run. So we got to check the 40 for Matthew Caldwell. I don't know what it was, but I don't know, whatever it is. It's pretty impressive. It's the football speed. But I think he delivers the football really well, really accurately in terms of ball placement. And they seem to throw the same. It was only, I don't know how many completions he's got, probably 3 or 4. But it seems like it's the same type of route to the skinny post. I've seen him complete like 2 or 3 times already. So I actually like. I mean, I haven't seen a ton of them, but I like what I've seen so far, and I see now why you would bring in a guy with that skill set. You don't have to change the offense a ton. Now I don't know exactly what his deep ball accuracy is like, if it's similar to Arch's, but he's mobile like an Arch Manning, and he's a guy that at least can complete some of your basic core concepts in your offense in case you have to, knock on wood, put him in there. So I like Caldwell. He's definitely solidified the backup job.
Yeah,
never been out. He's a solid guy.
Yes, he did fake. For those of you that were catching it at home or didn't catch it at home, we're actually at the game, and you're joining us here on this live stream. The OTF post-game show brought to you by Flight by Yingling. There was some cameraman issues with not only Caldwell's play where he faked out the cameraman, but also the gratuitous looks at Bevo for like 15 seconds, and they would just get back to the start of the play as the play was already started. That was my problem. I had heard enough about Bevo liking watermelon. I wanted to go back to the actual game footage there, but that's what happens in blowouts like tonight.
Exactly. You need a storyline.
Yep. A couple other notes. I wanted to talk about the offensive line, and not necessarily the first string unit that did not have Cole Hudson. Connor Robertson started, but Daniel Cruz got his first action. Left in the very first time when Nick Brooks came in, they kicked Brandon Baker to left tackle.
Man,
I don't know if you noticed that, but Nick Brooks is a huge human being.
He is huge. He makes the other linemen look small.
I told you he's bigger than Cam Williams.
Good Lord, man. They said I gotta go find that picture. I'm gonna get a still shot of it and send it to you. But they have like all the linemen like right there in this camera shot, and he's massive compared to all those guys. That's unbelievable as a freshman. That's crazy.
All right, this one from excuse me, El Conquistador. D Moore is necessary. He's the glue of the offense. Sark mentioned that in his post-game presser that we just heard, Rod. Is he the glue of the offense? Was he the secret ingredient that was missing maybe the last couple games for Arch?
That's interesting. I mean, it's hard to,
or at least the last game for Arch.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about kind of what he would mean, to like the chemistry, right, of the passing game. But I will say schematically, he is your slot guy. So a lot of times he's your move guy, your motion guy. And when they do targets to motion or motion, he's a guy that usually is schemed open for some of those predetermined throws that are easy schemed open throws. And so an easy completion. And he may be a guy to get you back on track. And they had a couple of early shots to him, like early completions to DeAndre Moore in this game. So schematically, that I guess it could make some sense that he'd be that guy that could, for the passing game anyway, that could get it back on track, right? If it's out of whack. Oh, there he is.
Before we go to CJ, I want to mention this too. Glenn Powell has the patience of a saint for tolerating the 10-minute interview on the sideline while the game was going on. CJ, you know none of this because you were actually at the game watching it in person. You just heard Arch in the post game. Tell us what you thought the energy level was there, and did Sark as well as Arch Manning feed off the energy inside DKR tonight? Oh, he's frozen. He's going to talk to us. He's frozen. We'll see if he comes back. He's Elsa. We'll see.
That's great.
Oh, boy. We'll see what happens there. But hopefully we get CJ back briefly in a moment here. I'm just looking at a couple of other comments here. What do you think you saw? I know you watched a little bit of that OU game today.
Yeah.
What did you think? What did you think of him?
He's just a playmaker. They got a good defense and a playmaker in John Material, but the running game isn't great, and I don't know about the playmakers downfield for him either.
Oh, don't bring me in on this segment.
I was saying,
I gotta ask you what you think. The great
CJ.
comment here. That's one of the reasons I was hoping you'd come back and lead you into it. No, CJ, in all seriousness, the energy at DKR tonight looked like it, at least on TV, was good. They fed off of Arch's energy, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, finally, we saw some emotion. We saw something that resembled the guy that we saw a year ago at times. And I couldn't be more excited for what Arch could be when he plays with that emotion, because that's who we thought we were getting at the beginning of the year. And again, I think he got a little gun shy after the Ohio State game, and that obviously didn't, lead to much performance after the last 2 weeks. But, it's funny. Sark spoke about this being probably the cleanest game Texas has played this year, right? Offense, defense, special teams, all throughout. Very pleased. 75 different players saw the field in some capacity for the Longhorns today. On top of that, 3 minor injury updates. No Xavier Filsaime for the second straight game. No Warren Roberson. And on top of that, no Kobe Black as well. Sark said that, hey, they're just being cautious, right? All 3 were nicked up. Probably could have gone tonight, but no real rush to get those guys on the field in a game like this. Going back to Arch, though, because I do think this is worth mentioning, I just spoke with Arch a couple minutes ago, and he was asked about that touchdown celebration, right there in the goal line, kind of standing up. Rod, it kind of looked like a little Ty Lue situation, kind of standing over the defender on the ground. But he said, no, I didn't know I was going to go on and kind of lose myself in that moment for so long. He said, I thought for sure I was going to get a penalty, and that his mom was not very happy with that celebration. But again, listening to Michael Taft, who spoke right before him, and when was asked about that, he said, look, if that's the leader of our team and he's playing with that swagger and that confidence, that tells me I can go play with that swagger and that confidence. So it trickles down. It's infectious. It's what I've been hoping to see for so long, and we got a glimpse of it tonight. 18 for 21, 13 straight completions, by the way. That was the offense that I was hoping to see this season, and it came to light against a bad team, don't get me wrong, but that was certainly very optimistic for me.
Any couple of throws that you saw from him tonight that were kind of on your highlight reel in your mind, CJ?
Yeah, the deep crosser to DeAndre Moore fits it in a tight window between the outside cornerback and outside backer. That's a throw that he dirts the first 3 weeks of the season. That's a throw that doesn't get through the window. Instead, he hits DeAndre Moore perfectly in stride. That goes for, about 45 yards. That was my favorite throw of the night. I thought Ryan Wingo actually made a tremendous adjustment to the football on that deep touchdown, the 52-yard touchdown ball. That was a great adjustment there. The ball was thrown right where it needed to go in that general area. But the best throw of the night was to DeAndre Moore for me.
It's good stuff. CJ, other people, you said Michael Taft talked to the pool of reporters. Anybody else talk to you guys, and what did they have to say?
Yeah, we spoke briefly with Ryan Wingo. Of course, it is 11:15. These guys are trying to go see their parents and get to bed. But no, Ryan Wingo, he didn't admit it, but you could tell just through body language that, hey, I'm glad that I don't have to hear from myself, from Bobby, from Rod about this incomplete connection between Arch and Ryan Wingo. He said, yeah, it felt good. It felt good to be out there, go find the end zone a pair of times and make some big plays for the offense. But more than anything, just find that connection, build that rhythm, and find something that this team can take from the field tonight into the bye week next week, and then eventually into the swamp on October 4th.
CJ, what stood out to you about the defense performance tonight?
Lived in the backfield. I loved it. 10 tackles for loss, 5 sacks. It felt like they all came in bunches. But on top of that, look, they gave no air for Sam Houston State to breathe. None. They were suffocating. 5 straight, 3 and out, 6 on the evening. That is a fantastic performance, probably the best of the season. I know the turnover numbers probably don't indicate that, but when you're on the field for 3 plays at a time, it's hard to get turnovers in that regard.
Yeah. Anything else you took away from Sark's overall press conference as well, man?
Yeah, I asked Sark. I said, hey, as a former quarterback, as a play caller, when you find a quarterback that gets in a rhythm with 13 straight completions, what does that do for the playbook? What does that do for the confidence? He said, not only does it open it up, but I kind of anticipated this, right? A week ago, Sark he kind of cited Rick Barry, and he said, if I'm 0 for 20, I'm going to keep shooting. Because at some point, I know how good of a shooter I am. Those balls will start falling into the net. He said, yeah, this week we obviously saw when you get hot, things are moving very easily. So Sark did mention that the confidence for this team was huge. to have a 55-0 performance, take the film tomorrow, and then go into the bye week, rest up, get a lot of guys healthy, because there are a lot of guys with little nicks and bruises. But altogether, great performance, best of the season. Now it's time for the real season to begin in SEC play.
All right, CJ Vogel live from the floor of DKR there. Thank you very much for joining us, CJ. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. We'll have several updates for everyone tomorrow on the Longhorns victory. You have a good one, CJ. Take care of yourself, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em. All right, thanks, CJ. Look, Rod, we got a lot to learn and dissect and digest from tonight. But I think that the overwhelming result is one of, look, they should have dominated this team, and they went out and did it. Until today, they hadn't done that this season. And now that they have, the expectations are going to be back in line a little bit. They want, like you though, everybody wants to see them go to Florida and win a hard-nosed game, because Florida's going to be a hard-nosed team. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah.
But what are your thoughts, like your general consensus take on tonight?
I think I like what Sark said about team morale. I think this was a game that was necessary for team morale overall, mostly to get the offense, their confidence, and to get Arch back feeling good about himself and good about his overall game. I think that it was necessary to go out there and, like you said, play and execute at a high level. It's exactly what they did. I told you that Sam Houston State was going to be a slump buster, so that's no doubt. We are not delusional about Sam Houston State and what kind of team they are. It wasn't necessarily about Sam Houston State. Texas hadn't had a game where they put it all together and played in a clean and crisp manner offensively. And they did that in this game. And then defensively, we saw them take another step, right? Challenge themselves. What's something you can do that's great defensively? Well, let's get a shutout. Let's get 6-3 and out. So the defense continues to challenge themselves to play to a higher standard. But the offense, they need to make some plays. They were lacking explosivity all season long. Sark said they got 20 explosive plays in this game. Guys, they had 11, I think, total explosive plays on the season going into this game. Only 1 actually via the ground on the running game. I think they had 10 via the passing game, and Sark says he had 20 explosive plays. I don't know how many. I'm talking about 20 plus yards or more. I don't know what his definition of explosive plays are. My point is they needed that to materialize on the field. It did. They also needed to be good on third downs. They had been atrocious on third downs in every game so far this season. 7 of 11 on third downs in this game. Red zone, you talked about. And Texas had been bad, of course, on the red zone, going back for the last couple of years. They needed to have some confidence in that critical area when they have to go and execute there on the road, in the swamp, at Florida, at night, whenever the hell they're going to be. They're going to need to be able to draw on those experiences and those times when they were able to execute those concepts at a high level. And they at least are able to do that. Now, do it against a elite opponent on the road. Yep, that's a totally different discussion. But you got to start somewhere. And they were great in those critical areas today. Penalties, that's what you ain't gonna be perfect, even against the Sam Houston State. So you still got areas where you got to get better. And penalties is probably one of those areas where Sark still has to figure out solutions so these guys can play more disciplined football overall.
Rod, Matt, our producer, texted me this while you were speaking there because he's listening to your numbers. He said 11 passes. Matt said 11 passes of 15 plus yards.
Okay.
9 rushes of 10.
Okay, so that's his definition. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that's the definition. But the reality of it is that Texas put together a complete game from beginning to end, didn't give up even when the backups came in, still scored points, still held Sam Houston State at bay all night long. It was a great game to go into it. And maybe to your point and to Coach Sark's point, it is a morale booster. This is exactly what the doctor ordered going into an off week as we prepare. All right, we've got more to come tomorrow. We've got rapid reactions. Myself and Jerry will get going early tomorrow morning. We've got grades. Coach Shipley, CJ, and Jeff Howe will be talking about that. Rod, you've got your second watch with Rod Babers. And then tomorrow night, we've got the live stream again. But I want to say thank you one last time before we let y'all go tonight to our sponsor. That is Yuengling's Flight. It's the next generation of light beer with only 95 calories. It's an easy drinking, upscale light beer designed to elevate your taste buds with just 2.6 carbs per serving. Flight is an easy to drink beer with a clean, crisp taste. Try Flight from Yuengling. Thanks to the fine folks at Flight and our friends at Faust Distributing. I think I might be getting ready to go have myself one of those.
You deserve it, man. You
Here,
deserve
I'm getting ready to. Been a long weekend, but it's been fun. Any final thoughts, closing thoughts before we end up here, Rod?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge for this team is to get better, right? And now they got 2 weeks to get healthy. I think this looks like a totally different offense if you get all your weapons back healthy. The majority of them. I don't know.
And Arch steps up.
Yes.
Not just against Sam Houston State.
Yes, no doubt. It'll be easier to do that, though, when you have a Wisner in your backfield and a Baxter in your backfield and your full complement of wide receivers, so offensive line, all that. So we'll see. After the bye week, healthy team going on the road to Florida. I feel good. Texas is in a better place than that Florida team is. But who knows? They might come out fighting like an SOB just because pride, Texas in town, fighting for their head coach's job. Who knows? You don't know what you're going to get from Florida, actually. But you need to make sure you bring your best, your A game. You're going to need it, I think.
Got to bring it all. Conference play is not going to be anything easy. Vanderbilt won by 4 touchdowns. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to give this young Texas team a run for their money.
Yep.
And so it's the preseason is now complete. Texas is 3-1. The next 8 games will decide this season, but it starts at Florida in 2 weeks. We'll be there. I'll be in Gainesville. All right, for Rod Babers, as well as our producer, Matt Hutchison, and CJ Vogel, who joined us live there for a little bit. I'm Bobby Burton. You guys have a good one. We'll see you later. Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns.